What's up, guys? It's bluetea-TCG back with another Vanguard video. Let's talk some market stuff today. Specifically, we're going to talk about some Silver Thorn prices that have been fluctuating very weirdly, to say the least. Right now, we're looking at over here Silver Thorn Assistant Zelma. This was a card released for Silver Thorn back in BT15, which was the last set before the Legion era of Vanguard that was short-lived. Of course, Legion, if you guys don't know, lasted for only 2 sets in the English version, and in Japanese, it might have lasted for a couple more sets, but regardless, though, Zelma here is one of the most important Silverthorn cards that we've been using in Premium basically ever since Premium has been a format. And even back when Silverthorn was being played in G-Era, highly don't recommend playing that in G-Era, but people did, as I was, as well as one of those people. But Zelma's price has been just insane. Like, I mean, of course, I can't give you my proper live reaction, but we've just been looking at the trend here for a year now, and this thing has just been going way up basically since that July 2021 period. Um, I don't remember the price I got this card at, but it was probably like $1 or something. Like I didn't get it right when it released, but the price on this has been going up mainly because it hasn't gotten any reprints whatsoever, and a lot of the listers are kind of know that and are trying to list whatever they have at a pretty high price. We're looking at the highest listing here on the second page is up to $20 for a single copy of Zelma. So I highly recommend picking this up as soon as possible. I don't think this card will get reprinted anytime soon unless they do another kind of revival collection sort of set, which if they do is terrific. That would be great. It'll probably be good if they also release that to Japan as well. As far as I know, Japan hasn't had such premium format reprint sets as we have gotten. But this card is definitely a pick, I would say, for picking up for Silver Thorn if you're trying to build it in premium. So the next one we've got here is Silver Thorn Upright Lion. This card is being used mainly, of course, in premium for Silver Thorn. I don't think any other deck really uses it. And while this card was also only printed in BT15, the same set as Zelma was, it wasn't at the rare rarity. It was actually at the common rarity, which I think has helped its case in terms of being slightly cheaper over a period of time compared to Zelma. But we still look at the market trends. It's definitely been just rising in price, not as fast, of course. But if you look at some of the recent sales here, $2 for 2 copies was one of the recent sales. Of course, we also see 75 cents, but a lot of these sellers are starting to list at a higher price. So I definitely recommend picking this up as well. I don't think this card will be reprinted anytime soon compared to Zelma, which might be. Like Zelma has probably a higher chance of being reprinted if Bushiroad wants to throw more bones to Silverthorn in premium, which I doubt they would do. But if they did, Zelma would be a more likely pick to be reprinted than this card. So I would say, yeah, it's definitely a decent time to pick this card up. Of course, there's probably no hurry since this seller has 36 lightly played copies being listed, and we've got another seller here with a lot of other listed copies, of course, at a much higher price. But regardless, I don't think there's any rush to pick up this one compared to Zelma, which is on a very scary trend here, the $7 range, and still going up over the year mark, as we can see. We can see the monthly rate too. It's dropping, but it's not dropping at a rate it's not dropping as fast as it was increasing over the year period. We look at the 6 month as well, and the 3 month. The 3 month, of course, shows that it's dropping a little bit, but there was one recent sale at $6. So it looks like a lot of these sellers are kind of sticking at their price range, knowing that there's not a lot of available copies in the market. The next one is, so we're moving on to V now, Rising Dragon. And this one was like one of the most baffling when I was looking through these prices. I don't even know what to say. Like, I guess people are running Silverthorn in V, even though Silverthorn is not really like that amazing in V. I wouldn't see this card being run in any other format. Now, I do know for a fact that a lot of people are running this in their premium Silverthorn list on YouTube, but that doesn't make it a good card per se for premium in Silverthorn. Regardless, though, the price says otherwise. A lot of people are buying this, and man, it's been going only up in the 3 month period. The 1 month period shows that it spiked so hard around this period of time, like June. It was still under $1, and then suddenly we see it go to $2 for whatever reason. Not sure why, and a couple of people did buy it at that $2 range in recent times. We see a seller that sold it for $277 a playset, $277 each. That's got to be insane. And another one recently in July at $2. But still, I wouldn't say this card is worth picking up at this price, to be honest. Not to mention that it's a common, so it would feel like one of those like guilty like purchases, like where you'd feel bad about it later on. But I guess if you're running V Silver Thorn, you could pick it up. I would not recommend it personally. I do not run this in any of my lists in Silver Thorn, neither for V nor for Premium. But it's just interesting to see how this price has changed over this time period. And you can see that even like in July 2021, around this time period, it was 40 cents, which is completely reasonable. But alas, I guess VBTO6 being the set it was has a lot of demand, and this is really strange to see this card at $2 now for a common. Um, Incredible. Next up, we've got Lilian, which is a little more reasonably priced. She was a triple rare, one of the most important cards that Silverthorn has ever gotten. Not just in V in general, but just any series in general. I think Lilian's just been a flat out great card for the subclan, and we can see that it's right now around 394. Lowest listing here, 350. Pretty reasonable. It's been dropping a little bit. It's like it feels like the market doesn't really know what price it should be at currently, just because Silver Thorns kind of in an awkward spot. The past year or so, it's been in an awkward spot. Of course, Dorian being limited in premium does not help that, but thankfully Dorian was um, a little more recently lifted. The restrictions were lifted in V, so that definitely helped out a lot. But we can see the year period. A year ago, it was around 60 cents, and then it started going back up. I remember it being pretty expensive, to be honest, while V was still a format. While V was still standard, pardon me. But I guess the market kind of corrected itself to go down, and then now it's going back up. So this card, I don't know if it's good to pick up right now. I guess if you need to fill your missing copies, definitely pick these up. There are a couple of reasonable listings here, but um, yeah, Lilian's still fine, I guess. And then the next one we're going to talk about is Selvia. So Selvia was released in the subsequent set that gave Silverthorn some support in the main V sets. This was VBTO9, the set that introduced Venus Luquier and V Series. And Selvia, in my opinion, was probably one of the most important Silverthorn cards. I think it's severely underrated in terms of how much of a boost it gave Silverthorn across all formats we're talking about here. And accordingly, we can see your price is kind of fluctuated similarly to Lilian over the course of the year. Now, I do want to know, I do want to like point out that the prices has changed a lot more uh, this year than it did last year. Last year was a great time to pick it up around that $1 price range, and then we can see the 6 months it's been dropping a bit. Even the 3 month period has been dropping. It's starting to go up a little more now at the beginning of July. I'm not sure if this is because of some new stuff released in the premium collection 2022, but if so, I guess that's fair. We can see in June that it was around $2. To be honest, I don't think like the most recent sale here was $7. I don't think that's the right price to pick it up. I think $3 is just about right. Um, and we can see here that the cheapest listing is at 355. So probably fair to pick it up at that price. Now notice how there's only one page of these listings, so pretty spooky to be honest if it gets bought out soon. I'm not sure if Silverthorn will get thrown any more bones anytime soon, but I do think this card is one of those that is pretty solid to pick up because it's just so important for Silverthorn. And then next we've got one of the older cards. We're going backwards a little bit, but BT12, if you guys remember, that was the set that introduced reverse units, specifically also introduced Link Joker, which no one wants to talk about that time period. If you play during this time period, then you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we've got Silverthorn Hypnos Lydia. This was the PG specifically for the archetype of Silverthorn. And her being the archetypal PG was actually extremely important because a lot of Silverthorn cards back then, a lot of subclan, a lot of like archetypal cards for subclans in general require that you counterblast a specific card in that subclan. So it was important to run as many cards of the subclan as you could just to make that like more efficient, more consistent. And I feel like that's probably why Lydia was so expensive back then. It's been dropping in general, but it's still a lot more expensive than I would have expected. Of course, it was around a year ago, $6 or so. Now it's dropped around $4. I would not say this card is that by any means necessary. However, unless you want to run this card specifically to fill in Silver Thorn slots in your grade ones, and you don't really care about running drop PGs, but I feel like it's safe to run draw PGs nowadays, especially since we don't really run that many Silver Thorn cards anymore that require very strict Silver Thorn typing when it comes to counterblast and such. It does help though to be able to run another card that makes cards like Marichka and Irina more consistent. But again, I don't think this card's 100% necessary. I do own it myself though, so you know, you can you can decide whether to take my word for it or not. But I would say like since the price is kind of dropping and there's still plenty of listings, I would just say wait for this to continue to drop. There's not really any rush to pick this up. I will say though, this card is still relatively valuable since you can still call it from the soul to get the PG effects. If you use Wandering Dragon to call this, we'll talk about Wandering Dragon pretty soon, but if you use Wandering Dragon to call this, you still get the PG effect, unlike some of the PGs that existed in the G era, where they can only work one place from hand. But yeah, with that, we're going to talk about next. This one is a doozy. Silver Thorn Assistant Dixie. This was a G era card, and as you guys might already know, G era effect triggers, woof, they changed the game a lot, to say the least. And Dixie was one of those cards that really was a game changer for Silverthorn. And as we can see, the price has gone way up. Like I remember this card being like 20 cents or so when I picked it up, and I thought that was expensive. My goodness. But we're seeing here now it's starting to go up a little bit. Of course, the price has been relatively stable the past months. It's gone down, especially in the 6 month period. But as we can see, it's never kind of recovered from the spike it experienced last summer. When it hit the $1 mark, it started to creep up to that $2 range and never really dropped back down to the $1 range. So I would definitely be careful on waiting on this card. I'm actually surprised they didn't reprint this in the Revival collection, but I feel like this is probably a card. If they decided to give Silverthorn some support for premium, then they would definitely reprint this. But as it looks right now, it definitely seems like a lot of people are still listing this, or at least one seller still listing it. I can't say the same for the other sellers. It's probably a good idea to pick this up as soon as possible. If you plan on running Silverthorn to any tournament anytime soon, then I definitely say pick this up right now. Otherwise, it's probably fine to wait for a reprint because it's not like Silverthorn's really making any noise in premium right now. All right, and next up, we're going to talk about the main ringmaster herself, Luquier. So I just searched Luquier and brought up all the results because I want to talk about a few of these more than just a couple of one of them. Like I'm not going to talk about $220 BSR Luquier reverse, you know, whatever, right? I mean, some of these prices are kind of obvious, self-explanatory. I'm not going to talk about them really. But I do want to talk about SVR V Series Luquier as well as VR V Series Luquier because their price has basically not changed. It's not budged a single bit ever since those cards were released. Now, I will say part of what contributed to that was the fact that Silverthorn was actually like a meta deck when it was first unveiled in V Series back when V Premium was standard. They were a meta strategy, so it's not surprising that the price hasn't really budged at all. But if we look at the original VR of V Series Luquier, it's also not really gone down from its $20 price range ever since it released. I mean, like I've been watching this card very closely for a long time, and if we look at the yearly period, maybe it's dropped a little bit, but overall, it has not budged from that $20 mark. And we can see that it was actually at $17 just a year ago. And this is probably the lowest it's ever gotten historically, because I don't remember it getting any cheaper than this. And you see it spiked a little bit after. I'm not sure what happened in this time period. I believe there was some like Heal Guardian released in the clan collections or something. No direct Silverthorn support, but then it started dropping a little bit more. We received the Silverthorn support at some point in this time period, and the market didn't really react to it. The price kind of dropped, in fact. But regardless, though, I feel like if there's not really any hurry to get this card necessarily, because there will eventually be VR reprints after the VR reprint protection period expires. So if you're trying to run Silverthorn in V, it's probably fine to pick this up. I mean, again, there's not really any rush because it doesn't feel like the price is going to get any cheaper anytime soon. Just because of the fact that she is, I guess, the waifu material as well. But again, I don't feel like this card is 100% necessary for even V premium, and certainly not premium either. So I don't think there's any hurry to get it. But of course, we can see by the recent sales that it's not really going to change anytime soon because people are still buying this card at the price that it's currently being listed at. So Yeah, that's all for V Luquier. We can see the other Luquiers briefly. We can see here the Venus Luquier from VBT09 has actually kind of dropped pretty stably. I'm quite surprised at this because this card is like one of the most important um, Silver Thorn cards to run in any format, and it's been relatively like tame in its price for quite a long period of time, to be honest. Yeah, it used to be $2 around this time, which is around when I got it. I do think that back then was when a lot of Silver Thorn cards were a lot cheaper than they are now, just because of availability. But now we can see that it's only gone up pretty much, and it's starting to go. It's only now starting to go on a downtrend. So probably a fair thing to pick up around this $10 price range. I don't think it's gonna. It might drop a little bit, but I don't think it'll go up that much. So, and we can see that quite a few sellers still have some listings of it. So pretty safe to just continue to wait this out. Again, I don't know if a lot of people are really making the move on Silverthorn currently. Someone did buy it for $25 in June. A little unfortunate, but most people are buying it at the $10 range. So I think this price is where it's going to comfortably sit for quite a long period of time. And then we can check one more. We can check the Giera and some of the strides. So Giera, this one is surprising. No one's really running this, right? I mean, I'm running it personally, but I mean, as far as I know, not really many people are running this. Um, and this card was like 50 cents for quite a long period of time. We can check the yearly price range. Uh, actually, it turns out that a year ago it was around $2 still, so it's quite surprising. But I remember getting this around when it was like under a dollar. So pretty interesting to see its trend starting to go up. I'd say definitely if you own this card, it's probably not a bad idea to go ahead and list it just to get that price down. Someone's listing 27 copies at $8 a piece. A little surprising there, a little strange, but we do see one person did buy it at $12 and another did recently buy it at 150. So 150 is a lot more fair than 350. So that's definitely reasonable. And looking at another one here, we've got Mystique Luquier Stride. This one, again, another baffling one. Who is running this, right? Like this card, yeah, it's been around for like forever, basically since the beginning of G. And I do not know anyone who's really running this. I guess this is like a collector's piece because Luquier is pretty popular, but again, $7 is quite absurd for a stride that's like flip fodder at best. It's quite even surprising to see that around April it was $10. Of course, those are like the average listings. The $7 is for a heavily played listing. So if we look at the yearly mark here, it's been at that price range for quite a while. I don't have any explanation for this. I don't think it's like we can see the listings are starting to go away. Definitely, if you own this card, go ahead and list it because you could probably make a quick buck. It seems like people are pouncing in on Silver Thorns just for collector's sake or something else. I don't know, but regardless, pretty surprising there. And then one more card we've got is Venus Luque Stride. This card is a little cheaper, which is reasonable. I think a lot more people own this card because it is more recent. It was from 2017. This set was around from 2017. The third character booster from Gira, and this card was the better of the two Silver Thorn strides. Still relatively underwhelming, not an amazing stride, but again, it's a little better just for what Silverthorn, the little that Silverthorn could do back in Gira. And unsurprisingly, there's a lot more listings of this card. However, I would say there's no hurry to pick this up. I doubt this card will ever be necessary for Silverthorn in the near future. However, if you feel like you want to collect it, it's probably a good time to do so right now because the price overall has gone up in recent memory. Yes, it has from $3 has gone up to around $5 over the year mark. So definitely, if you're a collector, I would pick this up as soon as you can and make sure that you hold on to it for a bit because I don't think anyone's going to be running this anytime soon or anything like that. It's probably just going to go up just for the sake of there not being as many listings available. That's probably the only thing that I could think of. But that's about it for Luquier as far as Luquier is concerned. We can look at page 2 quickly, but I don't think there's anything of notes. Yeah, there's just sleeves and mats. All right, so that's all for the main Silverthorn stuff I want to focus on. Now I do want to talk about briefly some of the generic Pale Moon stuff that Silverthorn can make use of, but is getting a little butchered by another culprit that I must not name by name, Nightmare Doll. So we're looking at first here, Wandering Dragon. Oh my goodness, Wandering Dragon, $10 a piece. Like, I'm I'm actually extremely like consternated that they didn't reprint this in Revival Collection or Selection, whatever it's called, back in whatever year that was. I don't remember the year, but regardless, this would have been like a perfect candidate to reprint. I don't even know what they reprinted. Like I guess Hari, was that it? I don't think they even reprinted any G Guardians, if, as far as I can remember. But still, we can see that the listings are just like dissipating. Um, I don't know what to say. If you don't own this already, uh, I'm sorry. That kind of sucks. But I would definitely not buy this at $10. It's a rare, for goodness sake, a rare. From I yeah, I get it. It's from 2017, but it's a rare. Definitely does not deserve to be at this price, other than the fact that there's just so much demand, and um, it's been a long time since that set was released. Uh, I'm surprised this card was like $5 a year ago, and no one was really running Nightmare Doll around the summer of 2021. But hey, I guess the market, the market speaks. So because I remember picking this up for $10 or 10 cents, 10 cents, not $10. But yeah, that's Wandering Dragon there. My goodness, wow. Yeah, do not support this. Do not support this, guys. Like, I'm serious. Don't buy this at $10 a piece. Anyway, next up, we kind of saw a glimpse of it there, but next was Furnival. Furnival's, oh, whoops, that's not Furnival. My mistake. Here we go. Furnival. Another card that's surprising, but thankfully it's not as insane. It's at 250 right now. This card is being run in pretty much every Pale Moon list, as far as I know. It's being run at maybe one or two copies. It's not really like the most important G Guardian, but it's still very good. And it was, of course, as you can see, released in 2016. So that's probably what's lending to its high price currently. Although it's been on a relative downtrend the past couple of months here, I don't know if it's really worth um, pouncing on this just yet. It's probably going to drop a lot more coming soon. I'm not sure if this. I don't think this is ever reprinted. No, it wasn't. So, I mean, of course, we still got a lot of listings here. It's not anything like Wandering Dragon, which got bought out, but definitely keep an eye on Furnival for its price if you don't have it already. But it's not 100% necessary. You can definitely just replace Furnival with something like Flexion Chimera and still be fine. All right, that is Wandering Dragon and Furnival. Let's talk about Fairfield. So Fairfield, you might want to take a sip of water before you look at this, or you might, you might want to, you might want to wash your eyes out after seeing this. We've got Fairfield at $37. My goodness, I mean, I get it, right? It was that same set, 2017, the character booster set number 3, and it was a GR, and GR was like one of the highest rarities. You could think of like a VR if you're familiar with VRs from V Series, but basically this card is not going to go down anytime soon. Like, I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. It's been only going up the past year. I mean, it was even at $11 back in the summer of 2021, and now it's 30, $40. It's touched for at briefly. It's been going down, I guess, for the past month, but very slowly. It's not really been going down substantial amounts. So, uh, uh, you know, if you don't have this card, I'm not sure if it's 100% necessary to pick up. It's better in Silver Thorn than it is in Nightmare Doll. Nightmare Doll does not need this at all. And Hari is kind of dead because of that. Hari Good Stuff is kind of dead because of that recent ban list. So they probably won't be picking up this card for that deck anymore either. But regardless, we can see here there's two listings. One seller has 4 copies of it. The other one only one. So um, I guess if you own it, list it, make some money. But I mean, definitely don't buy it at 37 if you don't have it already. It's not really 100% necessary for any deck I can think of right now. Silverthorn can probably make use of it best, but otherwise, this one's a no. And finally, we got one more card to talk about here, or set of cards rather. The cards that we got for Pale Moon in Clan Collection Volume 3. So this constitutes Luque Reverse as well as Anna and Marichka. And overall, these cards were pretty solid. They weren't like amazing. They could have been definitely better, in my opinion, for Silverthorn, giving them a boost in both V and Premium. But they were definitely solid cards nonetheless. And in general, Luque Reverse's price has kind of stayed where it's at. It's been at around the $3 mark for quite a while, basically since it released. I think basically with the exception of right when it released, when it was pretty expensive, as it normally goes with the pre-sale prices. But after that, it kind of dropped around the $3 mark and has stabilized there for quite a while. I'd say it's pretty safe to buy it at the $3 mark, actually. The thing about these kinds of sets, as you can see, a couple of sellers still have quite a bit of copies here. But as it goes with these kinds of sets, they're generally at their like lowest price, like around a couple of months after the set's released, and then they start to go up again after maybe a year or so. So it's probably going to get to the point where it'll be at like the perfect price to buy, maybe a few months from now. So definitely not a bad thing to buy at the $3 mark. I think it's been pretty stable there for Luquier Reverse at least. And then for Ana and Marichka, they've both been dropping pretty steadily. I remember getting Ana and Marichka both at $2 a piece, and now it's about 157. So definitely missed by a dollar or so there myself. But the price of this has been, it like the $1 mark was definitely like the 120 ish was the best time to buy Ana, in my opinion. It's probably it's not too late to still buy Ana. Same for Marichka though. But again, eventually these kinds of things start to get more expensive as we get further away from when they were released. But definitely both of these are good to have for both V and Premium for Silverthorn. Now, as far as the reprints are concerned, for Pale Moon, they were a little bit meh in terms of selections. Dorian was an okay selection, I suppose. Getting the rarity upgrade on it, though, was pretty nice. But again, not probably the best reprint pick. I would have probably picked something like Irina or Lilian as the reprint picks. Those cards are a little more important, but Dorian's not too bad to have the rarity upgrade on. And then Linnea, another interesting pick, but not the worst per se. I mean, I personally got the rarity upgrade of Linnea, and it's been pretty useful for V. And then the one that's the most strange here is Megalorude. I don't know why they reprinted this card. Like Silverthorn just doesn't use this. Like it's just way too restrictive when placed from Soul by the ability of your Vanguard, and it's grade 4. So like, how do you get this in the Soul? Like, tell me of a way you can get this in the Soul organically, right? Like, it's hard to think of ways to do so. And if you ride this, you're never going to be on the grade 3 again. So, I mean, I guess you can do Luquier Reverse, which is what they wanted you to do. Like, you'd ride this, and then you'd ride Luquier Reverse from Soul just to have this in the Soul for the rest of the game. But like, I feel like there's much better cards to play than this card, especially in V. In Premium, in Premium, this has okay synergy with Leontina turns just to free up some circles, and it's I guess it's pseudo removal, but it's just 0,000 power, like, or this is 0,000, but 0 power. Like you gotta have exactly Luquier Reverse to make this card not bad, basically. And again, this price is stabilized around 20 cents. The lowest listing is still 6 cents from KSC, and that's probably going to stay exactly where it is. So if you want to buy this card, sure, go for it. No one's going to be buying this card in general. As you can see, a lot of people still have their listings up. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to talk about a lot of the Silver Thorn market movement, some particular cards that I thought were pretty interesting in their price. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time.